Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome. It is that time again, time for the Diablo 3 PTR, as we're getting close to the first major content patch of Reaper of Souls, patch 2.1.0. This will be the patch that introduces seasons, or as some of you may recall them from Diablo 2, ladders, includes greater rifts, multiple changes to characters, and a whole bunch of new items. Whole bunch of content, really, that I'm really looking forward to. Now, in case you've forgotten, or you may never have created a PTR account, I'm going to walk you through it real quickly here. First and foremost, you want to go into your Battle.net account. You can either go to us.battle.net or eu.battle.net based on wherever you happen to be in your region. Of course, there are other web pages for your equivalent regions. You'll want to have to take a look at those. But once you've logged in, this is under the main profile screen under the summary, and you simply just go into your Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. Now, once you've done that, let me just kind of adjust things here for you. You'll come up to this screen with your game management. And down here is going to be a public test realm. Now, if you've never signed up, you should see a button down here that says create an account. I've already created an account, so I can't do it again. And this will tell me to download the game client. All that's really going to do is have me download this, which is the Battle.net desktop thing. Alright, so once you've created an account, all you have to do is log into your desktop, in your Battle.net desktop, like you normally would to play the game. Except for under region accounts, you're going to go to PTR, Reaper of Souls. Once you've done that, this button here, instead of play, should change to install. I've already got it installed, so obviously I'm going to see that it says play right now. But once you switch over, you hit the install button and it will install the game. It does have to download the entirety of the game due to the nature of the test realm. Alright, once it's done, you'll see the play button. You simply click on it and it will take you into the PTR realms by itself. Now keep in mind that while you're on a PTR, much like something like the Heroes of the Storm Alpha, you are not on Battle.net proper. You're on a different set of servers. So your friends list is not going to work. Anyone you want to play with, you're going to need to add to your friends list again. Once you've hit the play button, you're going to be logged into the PTR, and the first thing you'll notice is it's going to ask you to create a character, as if you had never created a character before. Well, that's because on this account you haven't. All you have to do is very quickly create a character, name it whatever you want. You're going to delete it anyway. And once you get back in, you'll be brought to the main screen, and you'll notice this up on the upper right, the PTR copy. It'll say choose a region. Just choose your region, and then hit the copy button. Once you hit that button, it will log you out, and you just log back in, and then you should have all your characters. Keep in mind, if you've played recently, you may not have all of your items gold or anything like that. The information that is saved for PTR copy can sometimes be a little bit old. Usually it's fairly recent, within a day, but it could be very different based on your region and your account. So just keep that in mind. You may not have everything, but that's okay. It's a public test realm. Nothing from the PTR gets copied over onto live. So let's look at some of the changes, shall we? The first thing you might notice is that my icon is actually of a little hand with a finger rather than an arrow, which is interesting. Okay, new art assets, that's fine. A lot of things are mostly the same here, but you'll notice there's this new button here for leaderboards. And you can see they've got leaderboards for greater rifts. And you can take a look at these, and you can take a look at solo, you can take a look at 2, 3, and 4 players. It doesn't look like this has been keeping track. Let's take a look here. Solo, Demon Hunter. Oh, it's under friends, that's why. So you can do under friends, you can do under your clan, or you can even do under the public test realm. And that's probably going to take a moment. There we go. So there's a lot of people here you can see. And I can look under the greater rifts for normal, for hardcore, for the season, and for seasonal hardcore. Now keep in mind with this public test realm, there are no seasons right now. If I go to try and create a character, you'll see that I cannot select seasonal hero. There is no season currently available. So hopefully they will activate some seasons and allow us to try it out. You will be given your own seasonal stash and everything. So to go over the changes, I'm not going to go over everything, right? Because this is a test realm, things are going to be constantly in flux, and I don't want to do a huge video on patch notes when they can be constantly changing. But I'll give you the kind of the basics here. So when you create a seasonal hero, they're going to have their own gold, their own items, their own stash. They're going to start from scratch. And this is actually good information to know, and something that I was very curious about when they announced these ladders or seasons that they wanted to do. Because crafting can skew the results of how quickly you move. And so it's nice to know that it's going to be like having a whole new account. Like it's separating it almost like the normal and the hardcore characters, since hardcore characters have to start their progression from scratch if you've never played them before. So it's going to be just like that. They're going to be their own character type for this current season. Once the season's over, everything you have is transferred right over into your live account. Now, unfortunately, I don't know how that works for items you may have in your stash, because obviously you don't want to have them just automatically merge in case items get lost in the shuffle. So there's probably going to be some system, some kind of fail-safe in place to take care of that. But in here we have not only the rifts, but there's seasonal achievements. This is for when they finally do unlock a season. They're going to have achievements specifically for the season at the time. And that's what these conquests are. These are basically achievements for the season. So leveled through 70, Uber tier 6. There's a lot of these are all kind of placeholders right now. Speed run, kill Malthea at max level on Torment 6. So as you can see, there's going to be specific points that you're going to get for seasons by itself. Now, supposedly there's going to be like a transmog set that you can get for participating in the season. There's going to be, I'm hearing that there might be a die unlockable if you get enough season points. It looks like they've got these little buttons so you can look at the current and leaderboard. That'll probably get some art down the road. So what have they changed in here? Well, they've added these Greater Rift Keystones. You can see someone linking it. Kind of show you this. That's for a level 3. So they've changed... Oh boy, 40 seconds here. Alright, that's fine. So what have they changed? They've changed it so that rifts only require 1 Rift Keystone. It used to require 5. Now it only requires 1. Now the caveat here is that anyone that wants to get into the rift that you've opened has to pay a shard. So if you open up a rift, they want to go in, it will tell them, hey, you need to pay up. You need to pay 1 shard. So this should make it so that everybody is on equal footing. So things like Rift It Forward that's been going on, I don't know the details of how that process works, but it looks like that's not going to be a big deal anymore, because you don't have to worry about having 5 shards. You don't have to go out and farm them. You just have to have 1. Getting 1 should be fairly easy, and everybody has to have 1 now. So it's not one person paying for everybody else, which is kind of nice considering that even though I didn't intend for it to happen, I ended up holding on to a lot of these keystones. So I've got 446. Now the downside, the way they're doing this, because they've got rifts and they've got what are called greater rifts now, which used to be called tiered rifts, and I'll be doing a video on those specifically when I get a chance. Now you click on the obelisk and it asks you to put in a keystone. So you can't keep your rift keystones in your inventory anymore. You have to come over here and I can right click on it. Once I hit accept, it will open up the regular rift, just like normal. But that does mean you have to have one of these things sitting in your inventory. Now when you complete a regular rift, you get a chance at getting one of these keystones. You pretty much will start with this greater keystone level 1. You'll earn that by doing a regular rift. Now, from what I can tell, what I've tried so far, everybody in your party will get one when one is earned. Since everybody has to pay for one, if somebody earns a greater rift, everybody gets one. Because when you open up a greater rift, just like the normal rifts, everybody has to pay with a greater rift keystone. Once you've beaten the rift, the greater rift, you'll be awarded a rift keystone of another level based on how well you perform. That's assuming if you beat it before the time runs out. My first time through, I got a level 10 keystone as the first keystone I got. So I went from level 1 to 10 immediately. So based on how you perform is what it'll do. Now, since everybody needs these, it seems like it's going to be kind of difficult to get full parties in a general sense. Like, you have to basically start with a party that's intending to go and run these things, get your own level 1 rifts, and then just go through. Because people are going here, and I've seen people in chat ask for different levels. I have a 10, a 15, and a 16. If anyone wants a level 8, a level 7, a level 12, I can't do any of those because I don't have stones for those. And as you can see, these are all taking up space for each individual one. So there is a downside to this. I would kind of like to see these in their own space or inventory or something. their own currency. Maybe the Rift Keystones themselves, these regular ones, should be added as a currency next to Blood Shards. Since really, that's all they're used for, is just the one. And the downside, too, is you can accidentally sell these. These do sell for 1 gold. You can sell them to a vendor by accident. Alright, so that's that. New thing here, new stash tab. You have to buy it and fill it out just like the other ones. So for Reaper of Souls, we now have 2 new stash tabs instead of just 1. And that's probably because of the new legendaries and things like that that'll be added, and because of the new season stuff. Big change for the character that I'm currently on here. The Demon Hunters and Monks have this as well, and this is kind of neat. I've noticed my survivability going up because of it, but Dexterity no longer gives dodge. Dexterity gives armor, just like Strength does for Barbarians and Crusaders. So Demon Hunters and Monks are a lot more survivable now. But we can't dodge. So you're not going to dodge a instant kill mechanic. Like before, I've dodged things like Asmodan's fireballs that would kill you instantly normally, and I've dodged those. I've gotten lucky. You don't have that anymore, so you have to be careful. Stuff that will instantly kill other characters will instantly kill you now if you're used to them possibly dodging. But on the bright side, I've not died in one hit to Frozen Pulse, or the Thunderstorm hasn't been as much of a deal anymore, all because I have so much more armor now. I'm much more survivable. Now keep in mind your toughness may look like it goes down or stay the same because you're losing dodge, and dodge was factored into toughness. So it might look the same, but you may notice your survivability changing because of it. Alright, something that might make some people happy because they noticed this on the last patch and they said this was an intentional mechanic. Anyone that tried to make bracers before noticed that it took 120, I believe, arcane dust. That's been brought down to 72. So I think people will be happy to see that, although that is still a very high number. Bracers are considered to be very expensive for some reason now. And that was a design decision, and that was stated that it was a design decision by the developers. So yeah, they're still expensive, but they're a little easier now. A little easier to make, less expensive. Alright, so I'll just go through a little bit of this rift. You can kind of see the survivability here. I'm on Torment 2. I probably could have brought it up to 3 with my survivability. You'll notice that the bar over here on the right for the rifts has changed a bit. This is to facilitate both the regular rifts and the greater rifts, because you'll see different icons on here. And again, I'll be going through a greater rift a little bit later on another video to kind of show off how they work, how the tiered systems for it work. Supposedly, there is a infinite number of levels in the greater rifts. As you can see, we can just look at my health, see that I'm not taking a lot of damage from that. Even before, since this is only Torment 2, I wasn't taking a ton of damage from it, but I'm taking a lot less. I still have yet to create or finish a Infernal Machine, or I'm sorry, a Hellfire Ring for this character since Reaper of Souls came up, but let me go ahead and show you something else that's kind of new. We're going to go over to Act 2 and talk to Squirt. The Hellfire Rings are still in place, but Squirt now has another new pattern for this Hellfire Amulet. So I'll go ahead and grab this. You can see it is 5 million to grab this amulet. Go ahead and go over to Shin, and we will learn it. So Hellfire Amulet, you can see that it looks like it separates it into Strength, Int, and Dex. So you can craft one of whatever primary stat that you want, and it does have random magical properties. It doesn't look like it has a unique affix to it, any kind of unique properties to it, but it has a primary stat plus 4 other random stats. Until I can craft one of these, I won't know for sure what the difference is here, because if we look at, for example, the Sovereign Amulet, that can have up to 6 magical properties. This only having up to 4, 5 if you include the primary. Seems like it wouldn't be as much. So there is more than likely a unique property to this that is just not listed here, or maybe added later, because this is all new. So to craft it, you would use the exact same reagents that you would use for creating a ring. So if I go down here to the Hellfire Ring, you'll see it's the same thing. The spine, fang, and eye. Well, that's the old one. Let me bring up the... Okay, apparently I hadn't bought the new Hellfire Ring pattern. Let me fix that problem. So that's 10 million gold down the drain. Alright, so looking at the new Hellfire ring, you can see this one, for whatever reason, the amulet has the separation, but the ring doesn't because it's using the smart system. And for this, it's the same materials. So Leoric's reagent, the Vial of Putridness, the Idol of Terror, the Heart of Evil. It's the same thing, except for you're also having to use 10 Forgotten Souls. So this is more than likely going to be very powerful. It's just I can't, until I can craft one, I still need one more thing to make, and then I can craft one and I can show you guys what it looks like. That's unfortunately why I also haven't created a video on the Hellfire ring, the new Hellfire ring, to add to the ones I already created, just because I haven't been able to finish it yet. RNG is, how they say, a bitch. Okay, one thing I wanted to show you guys, but apparently I can't because joining a game is apparently very much buggy on the PTR at the moment. Hey, public test realm, these things happen. Classes that have pets, witch doctors, demon hunters, I mean even monks and their mystic allies and whatnot. When you're playing with them, their pets are now transparent. And it's kind of nice in some ways because it makes it so much easier to see what's going on. So if you're playing with, like, say, a witch doctor and they've got, like, every pet imaginable, you can see through the pets, you can still see what's going on, see the monsters, see yourself. Sometimes it can get confusing when there's so many of them on screen. The downside is that sometimes the transparent effects look really weird and certain things show through brightly than others, and it almost makes some things in the background show up in the foreground the way they've done the translucency. Also, sometimes I think it's maybe a little too transparent and should be made more translucent rather than completely, well, not really completely, but it's still semi-see-through. I think this should be something that is a toggable option in the graphics, but as of right now it is not. At least it's not anywhere I can find it, whether it's in here or in gameplay. I can't show it off to you, but it is just one of those things where I think it's a nice idea, but I really think it needs to be optional for players, because it means that I can't really see the pets of my allies and things like that if I wanted to. So if I wanted to turn it off, I can't. And lastly, there is one thing I wanted to talk about in this patch. I'm just going to talk about it here since I don't want to restart all over again. Healing. Healing has been nerfed on health globes. And it kind of surprised me that there were two different types of health globes. I know that some were different sizes. I never really quite looked to see if they did different healing effects. So, you know, there you go. Me trying to figure out all the mechanics of the game, I didn't even realize they had different health values. Well, what a trip. Anyway, there are two different health globes. One from rare monsters that would give you 30% of your health, and one from the minions and elites that would only give you about 20%. Those now all do the same healing, but it's less than what it used to be even on the minions, so it's down to 15%. It's a massive nerf from the rares, but it's not a big nerf. It's only about 5% from minions and things like that. It might seem like it's really bad, might sound like it's really bad, but honestly, especially combined with the changes of survivability for, say, my demon hunter here, it hasn't felt too bad. And part of the counter to this is that regeneration and life on hit have been increased across the board on gear, and that is retroactive. So all the gear you have should show increased numbers in life on hit and regeneration. So they want your gear to matter more in this patch for survivability, and part of that is because of the tiered rifts, or the greater rifts, I'm sure. So that's basically a gist of what's going on with this PTR. I will again leave you patch notes in the video description. I'll leave a link to that. I highly suggest looking at it. There's going to be a lot of changes, and a lot more are coming. There's more elemental changes happening for characters, so there's going to be more interesting builds, and some builds are just changing all around, especially for Monk and Demon Hunter, because our abilities have to change because we don't have dodge anymore. And go figure, it brought me into a game. Once again, PTR is PTR. This is a test environment. Oh dear. Well, maybe I can show off the oh, he's in a rift. Okay. Pretty sure I didn't choose rift, but I will try and endeavor to show you what this looks like. But this is a PTR. This was only supposed to be a quick video, kind of a reminder of how to get into it if you've never been into it, and at the same time kind of show off a few of the changes. Now, see, he's got the same thing I do, where he's got 3 dogs. Let me kind of, maybe not, teleport to player. Come on. I'll zoom in, try and show it off. See, there he is, and there's his companions. He's got all the companions, and you can see that they are translucent. They're not very easy to see at all. I can see where they are, but I can definitely make out where they're supposed to be. So very odd that I joined into a rift that was already empty or completed. Server restarted. Okay, well, good timing, right? Server's going to restart for updates here in 5 minutes, and I think this is a really good time to kind of stop and say, here you go, this is what's going on. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and I'll try and get you guys some more content down the road here. Maybe show you guys some rifts, maybe see if I can show you the cesspool, and if I can possibly make one, the amulet. Now, the amulet's supposed to get a specific passive based on your class. That's probably why it doesn't show it on Covetous Shen's sheet, because it's different based on who you are. But I would think it should show it, at least show that there's something there. But oh well. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.